All right, we are live. Welcome to another episode of ArmTalk. I'm your host, Joey Williams, and today my special guest is, we all know her by Mrs. Monster. I like to call her Rebecca. Not a hard name to forget because my wife's name is Rebecca. So everybody, welcome Rebecca Todd to the show. How you doing this morning?
I am doing fabulous this morning. Today we hit our 6 month mark from when we started our transformation, and I'm officially down 35 pounds.
Congratulations. And you know what? I like the journey Michael and yourself are going on, because what I want to touch base on, and we'll get into that in a minute, is that you pulled for a while, you competed, and then you took time off, and now you're doing this whole 180 where it's like, you know what? I want to get in a better shape and I want to compete again. And it's made me excited because now we get to see you, because for a while, I think people asked you, do you still compete? And I think the answer was no, correct?
Yes, yeah. For a long time, it was, you know, that's just not my thing. That's not. I retired. I don't want to do it anymore. I held a lot of resentment for a lot of reasons for a while, and stuff happened. Things change.
And I get that. And you know what? And here's the thing about our sport. You got to have a very, very understanding significant other, because the bad thing about this sport that people don't really touch base on, which is probably we shouldn't touch base on, but sometimes I've seen relationships get ruined over this sport, or I see divorces happen or whatnot, because this sport can, suck a lot of life out of you. So it's really important that your significant other supports you in any aspect of that. And so I understand Michael's back there. What's up, Michael? How you doing?
He's
But
way downstairs. He'll be up here in just a minute. But he can
oh,
hear us because I have a loft. My room is the loft, right? Or our room is the loft. But yeah, so we didn't really have that's not what was behind me retiring specifically. I don't know if you actually followed my stories on my YouTube, but basically I have a real problem with social anxiety. And a lot of people that see me are like, I can't believe that you have this issue because, you're so open and whenever you're around.
yeah.
Okay, so if I'm in a crowd and I see you and you are my friend and I can focus on just you, Jody, I'm okay. I can be in a discussion, I can be in that discussion, but when I look around at the crowd,
right,
and realize how big it is, the anxiety just takes over. And that makes it horrible for competing, right?
Gotcha.
And so I'd have that issue going up to the table. So I absolutely hated competing. I loved training. I loved being in my gym when we would have practices because it was my home. And so then people were able to come, and I loved training with them in that way. But being in a crowd of folks that I don't really know, or it's just loud. It's loud and it's large. It's very overwhelming to me. So I hated the whole competition experience.
Right.
So I never really enjoyed it. And then in 2018, we went to Brazil, and I'm not going to get emotional, so I'm going to tell the story very quickly and very shortly.
Right.
Knew that my grandmother was ailing, and she had been on the decline for a while. And I didn't want to go. I didn't want to leave her. And we'd already made this commitment to Gabby. We were basically, Michael and I were her guests of honor at her first Gabriela Vasconcelos championships. And she put a lot of money into promoting that event. And between her and Michael reminded me of, exactly how much went into the event, and in a way they understood why I wanted to stay home, but in the other way we had this commitment. I allowed myself to go, and my grandmother passed away while I was there.
And that has to, really bother you about that, because being that fact that you weren't there when she passed away, and I know that bothered you for a while,
Yeah, because she was my matriarch. She was my person. She is the one that everybody in the family looked up to, loved us, took care of me, my brothers, my grandchildren. She was fabulous. And I FaceTimed her right after my competition, and I was with her on FaceTime when she took her last breath.
Right.
So I left that event angry, and that's all part of the grief process, right? So I left that event angry, resentful, and let that resentment build up over a few years. And it was directed a lot towards Michael and a lot more towards arm wrestling.
Right.
And I didn't want to have any part of it. In a downward spiral over the next few years, didn't all stem from that, all a bunch of other junk. I got to, I guess, what you would call your rock bottom as far as depression and anxiety go. And the Lord was kind.
Yeah.
And I woke up to see another day. And on that day, I decided that I was going to get my life back, and I was going to get my health back, mental, physical, spiritual, all of that. And so in that process of me returning to my best, physically, mentally, spiritually, all of that, arm wrestling was always that thing that was like a thorn in my side, right?
Right.
And because I feel like I let it beat me. You know, the anxiety of it all. I let that anxiety control my future in that sport, right? And whether I go on and continue competing after Monster Factory 3, I can't tell you if that's going to happen. I don't know.
Right.
But I feel like I need to reclaim that for myself. I'm going to go. I'm going to conquer it. I'm not saying I'm going to win. Sarah Latona, you are training way too much. You can quit anytime. Latona, I'm sorry. I'm not saying I'm going to win, but I am going to compete. And on that day, if I step up to that table and I can be present in the moment, I've already won.
Right. And let's talk about the Monster Factory events. Ever since Michael and you guys and all your sponsors put together this thing, and you know what? I saw that, I was like going, you know, this is awesome, because some of the bigger events happen overseas. You know, King of the Tables happen over across the pond, East vs. West across the pond. And it's always Arm Wars across the pond. And it's nice for a change to have a big event here in the States. And so, you know, let me be the first, well, probably not the first, but let me be the next one to say, you know, we really appreciate what you guys are doing, you know, for arm wrestlers. And it also gives everyone an opportunity, you know, a chance to say, hey, I would love to be on one of your events. Let me see if I can compete, have fun, talk shop, all that kind of stuff. You know, I like what you guys have been doing. So I really appreciate that, by the way.
Oh, thank you. The first one was really just, I don't know, let's have a little fun. Let's see what happens. Did not really expect that there would be more. In fact, Michael said, we're not doing this again. I think I might have said we're not doing this again on the day of, because there was a lot of stress. But
Right.
then we looked around and we saw, you know, we really had a good thing going. The atmosphere for the athletes, they all had a good time, you know, and it was almost like a big family reunion where you're just getting to enjoy the competition without all the fluff, you know. And so it was a lot of fun. It was a whole lot of fun. So then we went on to Monster Factory 2, and you know that we changed from the pay-per-view model to the free model,
right?
And it was an even bigger success. Went well beyond what we had imagined, and super excited about that. And so, of course, now obviously there's going to be a Monster Factory 3. Now, will it continue into the next year? The events themselves, I don't know, because things are moving so fast. I don't know exactly where we're going,
right.
But I can tell you there's some really cool stuff coming down the line, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am privy to that information. I will not say anything because Michael and I have been talking about that between ourselves. And sorry, everybody out there, I am not going to say a word. So,
well, you know that part, but I'm also talking about the expansion of Monster Factory. You know, we're going to have the place where we can house up to 12 people at a time, which will 12 to 18, which will be a lot of fun for content creation, one. But can you imagine being here for an event, and we're not checking into hotels. No, everybody's staying at the Monster Factory, where there's one huge kitchen, eat-in kitchen. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it can also just be for training camps. You know, that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I think I might have to make a trip up there. You know.
Absolutely.
Now, we'll say this, your motivation just to stay in shape is awe-inspiring, especially in person. You know, you see the videos, we see you guys is on YouTube, and we saw, man, that kind of stuff motivates people. But when I see it in person, And what I'm saying, and you'll know what I'm talking about, when y'all went on your cross country trip and y'all made a visit to Multnomah Falls last year. So I drove up 3 hours and I met you guys there and we hiked up the falls. And honestly, I'm telling everybody in the chat right now, Rebecca could have, easily just lapped us because I don't think people understand. If you're not from Oregon, Multnomah Falls, the hike to the top is very steep going up, So the fact that you were just like kicking our butts is like going, man, it was just like nonstop, nonstop. You got to a point, stop, okay, wait for everybody to catch up, okay, we're off again, and that really made me realize that, you know what, when someone's real motivated and put their mind to something, anything can happen. It was just like boom, 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 boom. Now it kind of sucked coming back down because it was so steep and it kind of put pressure on my knees and everything. But it was cool to take in all the scenery and stuff. And so, I really appreciate you guys making a trip up there.
It was a lot. That is one of my favorite stops, Multnomah Falls. It's just so damn beautiful. And that was the second time that we went there. Daniel Urich was there both times, right? But he was the one that took us there the first time, I think, right? Is that what happened? Right? Yeah. And it was just amazing. It's a place that I want to stop at any time that we're around. Now, if you'll remember, Michael on that trip was still recovering from COVID. And I thought we were going to have to leave him on the side of that mountain.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Oh, I remember we had to, stop, and I was concerned, like, should we even continue? Because I was seriously, and Michael, if you're listening, I was saying to myself, I know I'm out of shape. I can tolerate that, but you were looking like, man, should we be continue? Is it worth going up? That kind of thing. But as the monster, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and tough it out. And then I think at one point you kind of sat there, you kind of looked at me and just says, okay, I'm going. Then you started running up the hill. And it's like, okay, hold on, Then there was that. But no, that was a very exciting experience. By the way, Sarah Latona is on the live chat. She says, Rebecca, you are very quiet. So I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, there it is.
Can you not hear me well? Am I coming through okay? I moved it closer to my mouth. That might help.
Oh, okay. But yeah, the transformation is awesome. I'm glad you're sharing that because what we like to call journeys, right? And some people are kind of weary about doing that kind of stuff on social media because sometimes social media can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. But the fact that, look, this is my journey. Thanks for joining our journey. Here we are, day one to day whenever, and I do like that kind of stuff. And it's almost like when that's done, then all of a sudden you guys kind of lay low. Then boom, here comes another journey. Okay, I'm all ready for it. Let's go. So I do like that kind of stuff. What got you guys into that, making journeys, and then it's like chapter 4, chapter 5 of the journey? What made you guys do things like that?
Okay, so we're very goal oriented, right? And if you don't have a goal of something that you're reaching for, then what the hell are you doing?
Right.
Are you just existing? Because I don't know about you, Jody, but I'm a little too damn old just to be existing. I'm looking at the bottom part of my life, and I want it to be packed full of goals and goals that I have met. And sometimes I realize I won't reach them, but there's always something that I'm looking forward to.
Right.
Instead of just existing. I don't want to do that. I don't want to just be here waiting to die anymore in this life. I always want to be looking forward to something. So we just, Michael is very athletic. I'm athletic, and I don't have the competitive bone as far as competing so much against someone else, right. But I'm always competing against myself, seeing what more I can bring out. And God, that just makes me feel alive, doesn't it you?
It does. And you know what? And we've all, at some time or another, we always look at ourselves and kind of compare ourselves to somebody else. I know what I used to do, and I'm starting to get away from that now. But I would see somebody, whether it be on Instagram or whether it be on, Facebook or whatnot, and they have this, strict curl thing. I'm thinking, oh, I can do that. And I got to a point, okay, I'm not like them. I'm not built like them. They're not built like me. And it goes back to, like you said, goals. And so my thing is in life and in sports, what legacy do you want to leave behind? And that's pretty much where I'm at now, because I'm closer to 50 than I am to 40. So I kind of look at it that way. What legacy do I want to leave behind in this sport? What fingerprints do I want to leave behind in life, family oriented wise? So that's how I feel. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not, but that's how I feel.
Dude, I just want to live. I just want to live in the moment, and I want to see and do and experience as much as I can do. And as far as fitness, I will tell you that on this last tour that we did last year, you know, it was over 5 months, there were things that we were able to do because we have a level of fitness that had we not, we would have missed out on.
Right.
When you're talking about hiking, you know, going through the Badlands in the heat and things that we were able to see, climbing up to look at waterfalls from above, you have to have a certain level of fitness to be able to enjoy all this life has to offer.
Yeah.
And so fitness ties into a lot of the things that we want to accomplish and that we want to do. So, you know.
No, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, being an athlete, it takes it's a dedication thing, right? Like if you're going to compete in something, then you better, you know, you might as well go ahead and take the necessary steps to make sure you can compete. Anybody can arm wrestle, but if you really want to be good at it, then you got to go back in the lab, do some work, find out. I mean, and I'll tell you guys this, you know, for you and Michael, look, when I go to a tournament and the tournament's all said and done, you know, if I'm lucky enough to have somebody film my matches, I go back home and I look over it maybe 3 or 4 times. The first time I look at it as a fan, the second time I look at it is like, okay, what went right, what went wrong, and then break everything down. Okay, I circle that. That's what I need to work on. Bam, I'm back in the lab the following Monday, and I'm working on that flaw that I have. Do you guys kind of do that too, by chance?
Well, Michael, do you?
What was it?
Okay, he's looking at his pictures from this morning. So, kind of, I think everybody does that to a certain extent, right? But one thing that Michael has always preached, and he actually got away from to his detriment, was, well, you want to treat yourself like an athlete, yes, Michael, but you're way behind here. Just try and keep up. Was that you want to do what you do. Just be the best at doing what you do. People will ask him, do you train a specific way for a specific opponent? No, I'm just going to train to be able to do and be the best at what I do. Because it's when you get in trouble, when you go back to the lab and you take it over and you're like, okay, they did this. Maybe if I were stronger here, when actually, in actuality, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. If you would have just been stronger at doing what you do,
right,
you know, then you could have maybe had more success. For me, and I know that my opponent's on here, so Sarah, I need you to plug your ears because I don't need you, you know, I don't want to give you too many kids. You don't need them. For me, my problem prior to this match, prior to me retiring, my problem was speed. I was always catching and then having to arm wrestle back. And if I was strong enough, I could. I was plenty strong then. Like, I was strong before I retired. And now, once I retired and I let that resentment build and I stopped training and doing the things that kept me strong, now I don't have that strength, right? So now to be me and to be able to do what I need to do, not only do I need to get stronger, but I need to get quicker. As my son said, if you, because I asked him, I was like, so what do you do once you stop a match? He said, well, first you got to be strong enough to stop the match.
Right.
You know, so I got to get stronger so I can stop it, but also I have to be fast enough that I'm not getting pinned before I can get stopped, right?
Right.
So for me, I'm working on both of those things. Sarah, she has arm wrestled a lot over the last 4 years.
Yes.
And she's been competing. She's been doing what she needs to do. So for her, I imagine all that she really needs to focus on is getting stronger. For me, I need a lot more ready goes from a referee on a table. So if there are competitions that we can go to, even though I'm risking losing, and I hope that doesn't hurt Sarah at all. I'm hoping that doesn't. Because I could show up to someone that I've been able to beat and suddenly lose to them, right? And that could look bad, but I'm hoping not, because what I need is that time on the table with referees and ready go to help develop that speed. And then I'm also trained in the gym.
Right.
So I got a lot of ground to make up when it's coming to that match with her. I got a lot of ground. And so I'm going to be very happy if she knows I'm in the match.
So here's something I want to ask you. Now that we've always seen Michael's videos and you're behind the camera, and now the script is flipped because now all of a sudden Michael's behind the camera and now you're doing the circuit workouts and stuff. How does that feel to you now? This whole time you've been doing it for him, and now all of a sudden, now you take center stage, and Michael's, with the camera, and now you're doing all the circuit workouts. How does that feel for you?
Okay, there's two parts to that. First of all, we've hired somebody, and she has been doing some of my filming. And when she stop for a minute, Michael, I'm sorry. So when she's here, it's fabulous. It just goes wherever she needs to film, right?
Right.
When Michael's filming me, there's a lot of whining.
From you?
No, from him.
Oh.
He whines.
Don't trust anything that's going.
He whines. I'm not going to go over there. I'm not going to do that.
Why she didn't wipe off my mirror so I could see a better reflection of myself?
He is. He's looking at himself while he's supposed to be filming me. But he's like, I'm not doing that. I'm getting tired of holding this camera. I'm like, really? You don't think I've done that? You don't think I've gone over there? You don't think I've squatted from that position to get that shot of you? Oh, my God.
Man,
he is. You guys know he's a prima donna. He really is.
There was I think, was it the monkey bars or something? Or no, it was the pull-up or something like that, I believe. And you did a pull-up, and the only thing I heard from you was like, all right, Michael, make sure you hold the camera up. Don't show my butt. It was kind of funny because I was like going, all right, Rebecca, I'm waiting to see this thing on my butt. I'm back in. And Michael's like, okay, fine. That kind of, and it's funny because I see you guys having fun with this. And it's not too often that you get two people who like the same thing actually can have fun. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is that when you are filming someone, you need to be looking at what you're filming.
Right.
And he will get mad about dropping the camera and be watching with his eyes, like instead of watching through the camera. And sometimes that camera goes to what he's looking at. So I have to tell him, Michael, do not film my butt. Do not film my butt, because whatever you're looking at, you're going to be giving the viewer that view. So cut it out.
But wasn't he the one that said, well, hurry up because my arm is getting tired? Did he say that too?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I like that. So speaking of December 10th, Sarah's in the chat. You girls are going at it, and I'm excited. And honestly, the last ladies match you guys had, was Leanne Wilson and Danielle Everson. And watching those two grind it out, I was like, man, I should have more ladies matches. Oh, here we are, December 10th coming up, And I'm thinking, without giving all away our secrets, I'm excited to see some more ladies matchups, And I just can't, like, how'd that whole thing unravel anyway? How'd that whole thing start?
Okay, well, as far as having the ladies matches and stuff, all right. So I had actually talked to Sarah before Monster Factory 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we had proposed the match at that time. Leanne and Danielle were phenomenal.
Yes.
In my opinion, it was one of the best matches on Monster Factory 1 card. It was an absolute shame that our community did not share it and view it more. And they should have. That's one of the things. I won't get into how much that pisses me off, but it does. Because that was a fabulous match, right?
Yes, it was.
So I had talked to Sarah previously, and it just wasn't the right time for me. I wasn't in the right place. I still had a lot on my plate getting ready for Monster Factory 2 since John Scott has taken over the production and the streaming of the Monster Factory events. Now I can take a step back and I don't have to put as much of me into it on that day.
Right.
So that freed up some space for me to be able to do this competition. And we basically put out feelers to see if there would be interest, because I'm so excited about being on the table with Sarah. But when it comes down to it, this event, in order for us to get sponsors, in order for us to get partners, to be able to put the main card together that we've put together and future cards, it has to be sellable.
Right.
It absolutely has to be sellable. There has to be interest in it. And so we put out feelers to see if there was interest, and there was great interest. So after a lot of back and forth and a lot of, hand wringing, I finally decided, just let down the hammer and let's do this thing. And once I made the decision, wow, that was a lot off my shoulders, and so I've just been able to buckle down and train and focus. Now I'm having to stay away. Sarah tags me in a lot of her reels, and I love it because I love to share it, but I'm having to not watch them so much, Sarah, because you're scaring the hell out of me. Every day I'm like, Michael, she's getting really, really strong. What the hell did we do? But I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the fire that's in her. And if the two of us can do what I think we can do, then I'm hoping we can carve out a place for there always to be a ladies match, and more than one ladies match. Yes. We need to have Leanne back. She's a beast. We need to have Danielle back. There are other women that have messaged me that I definitely want to have on the card. And there should always be a ladies presence.
Yes.
In my opinion.
No, I agree. And, I'm good friends with Sarah McKinney, and they do, or she does a ladies event once a year where it's all ladies, and that's always good because we're trying out there to make sure that, hey guys, there's ladies out there who can compete, and more oftentimes than not, sometimes their matches are more exciting than the guys' matches. So we need to, show them some shine, give them the spotlight so they can go ahead and do what they do. So here we are.
Absolutely. Ladies approach it differently. And just let me give you this example.
Okay.
When we've been on the road and Michael has done Be the Champs, like Tennessee, Dallas, whatever, where he will pull 100, 200 different people. Men come up, and there's a few of them that will really try, but most of them you can see when it switches in their mind and they just give up and quit. Let me tell you what, I don't care if it's a 125-pound lady that is looking at my husband arm wrestling him. She is fighting tooth and nail until her hand hits the pad. I mean, it's ridiculous how much they go for it, and it's just, there's a different fighting spirit. It's just different. I don't think I can recall watching a ladies match where a lady quit.
No, I you know what? Now that you brought that up, that's exact. They will. I mean, they go down with the ship, and I hate to use that term, but they will go down with the ship. You're like, hey, if I'm here on the losing side, I'm gonna stay tight. I'm gonna fight to where I just can't do it anymore. Hey, thank you. Give me a hug. You're stronger than me. That's cool. You don't see that kind of vicious, facetious attitude from the women that you see sometimes with the guys.
Right.
So yeah, I got people in the chat already. Rebecca saying, hey, Justin Green saying, how about Leanne versus Jolene Anderson? And then Sarah comes back, how about Leanne versus Nancy Locke? So right now, Leanne's getting a lot of love. I'd love to see her back again. And so does Danielle. And the list goes on and on. So I'm liking what I see. I know right now you guys are focused on this one coming up in December. For future events, we'll have to wait and see. I'm crossing my fingers. I hope that you guys do it, keep going. But I know you guys don't want to get a hold of yourself because you guys got lots of events coming up in 2023. So it's gonna
be crazy.
Yeah. Who else is on the card? Because I think this is the first time you have a husband and wife on the same card. Because Michael, we all know Michael's pulling for Zink. You're pulling Sarah. Who else is on the card?
Okay, so we've got Corey West versus Cody Merritt, left hand. That match will decide who is number one in North America. Okay, now Cody and Corey have met up on the table before. Little backstory to that. We didn't know it, but Corey already had a bit of damage in that left arm. If you'll remember, the very next time he pulled was Dave Chafee, and it came apart, right?
Yeah.
So, but he had been messing around. Everybody's seen the video where he's messing around with Travis Bagent. And then he goes into that match versus, came up here, pulled Michael. Michael was, he does what he does, and you don't leave here. Well, let me just put it this way. When you pull with Michael at the Monster Factory, at a training session, you are leaving feeling like you need some rehab of some sort, guaranteed. Okay?
There you go.
So Corey was a little damaged. And when he went into that match, he didn't know it, but he felt a whole lot of pain. He knew that something was going on. So he wasn't 100%. So I'm very interested to see, with him healthy, what it's going to look like. We all know Cody Merritt is a bad dude.
Yeah.
He is the man. He's the man. He's the man. He's the man. People can talk about Devin as much as they want to. They can talk about whoever. Cody Merritt is the man, left hand, North America. So I'm very interested to see what kind of gains Corey has made, and if he's able to make a match of it, or if he actually pulls out the win. So that's there. And then another one that we're very excited about, of course, is Craig Touye and Daniel Mosier.
There you go, Sarah. There you go. She was like the Bayou match. Yes.
Yes, the Bayou match. So for this one, I don't know if y'all can feel it. You got to kind of read between the lines. It feels like there's something bubbling under the surface there.
Can I add to that by the chance? And this is what I see. I don't know if everybody else sees it. So, for a lot of years in Louisiana, Touye and Mosier, they would train together. And it would always seem like at Louisiana State or at an Arnold Classic, those guys would meet up, and Daniel couldn't quite beat Craig. I think it kind of irritated him, And then the last Louisiana State earlier this year, I think it was like February or March or whatever. It was the same day Corey pulled Krasimir, that same event, right? And those guys met up, and you could just feel the tension between the two. You didn't have to say anything. You can just watch the body language, the way they looked at one another like, okay, there's something going on, but you weren't quite sure what it was. So I think that may have something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe you know more than I do, but yeah, I think there's something going on between those two.
Well, I think it's the issue with the two roosters in the hen house.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to finally battle it out and see what this pecking order is. Someone's got to decide that once and for all. And they are meeting at a weight. What is that weight, babe?
The weight's 200 pounds.
200 pounds.
It's the light heavyweight Monster Factory Championship match.
Yeah, so it is a championship match, so there will be a weigh-in, and that's what this night is about. We're actually giving out championship this match.
Yeah, I'm going to talk on that real quick.
Okay.
The weight classes that I chose were going to be 170,
right,
200, 230, 231 plus. The weight class now is 240, so I can jump in there. What?
You're crazy. See, Michael Todd. So that he's. What did you weigh this morning? What did you weigh?
Okay, so I woke up this morning at 241 pounds, 41.2.
That's all I asked. You don't
Hopped in a sauna, 240.6.
Wow.
Carb meal because I still haven't had water since 4:45 yesterday. After pumping up for pictures, after carbs and everything, 240.
Ouch. Ouch. That's scary because guess what? I'm 232, and that really bugs me. So I was like, oh, okay. So now I got to deal with this now. So it's like, okay. But I tell you what, I know this is a Rebecca.
It's going to be to his benefit to be in that area.
Right.
Going into next year.
Oh, yeah. I'm quite aware of that. So here's another question before we continue with the matches. How do you decide who's in the corner of the pullers? Because that's one of the things I do hold high regard when you have these different big events and you got these super matches and then you got a corner man. How do you guys decide who's in whose corner for the matches?
They choose. We leave it up to them. They can either bring their corner person or they can choose one of the athletes that are at the event, right?
Right.
But because this is an exclusive event, they're only allowed to bring one person with them. So, like, if you were coming and you wanted to bring Becky, your wife, then you might want to choose one of the athletes that are here to be your corner person, right?
Gotcha.
Because we have limited space, and we want to keep it that exclusive feel. And that's the way it will always be. People keep talking to us about, well, why don't you open it up, go to a different, like to an event center so you can sell tickets and have 50 or 100. No, because that's something else. That's not Monster Factory Arm Wrestling.
Right.
Monster Factory Arm Wrestling happens at the Monster Factory. And it's exclusive. So that's just one of the fun parts about it, right?
Well, I will say this, because when I watch the events, right, and I see you on the mic, Michael's on the mic, Don Underwood's on the mic, and then I see the background and everyone's there. And it almost makes me kind of jealous. I'm like, wow, those are the lucky ones, because that's how you know it's exclusive. And I think if you keep it that way, not trying to tell you what to do, but if you keep it that way, it makes it more special. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's the way it feels here too.
Our intentions are to build the Monster Factory edition, be able to house up to 12 to 18 contestants, competitors, whatever. but I will have a dedicated stage, backdrop, table, cameras, lighting, above the table camera mounted. Everything will be as professional of a venue as possible, but it'll still be exclusive to what we're doing now, because we do live in a neighborhood, we do live in a subdivision, and I don't want this is my home, and if I don't like you, you're not coming to my home.
Right. No, I mean that's good. And you got the after pool. There was always that. And can you imagine? You know how like the last East versus West, everyone kind of gathered around for a meal. I mean, even something like that, just sit there and just talk. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I like. That's important to me, because even though your opponents, whatever, you can sit there and just chit chat about training. You could talk about life. You could talk about anything you want, and it's just everyone's relaxed and they're having a good time. And I think that's what it's all about. But you still keep it as professional as possible. I don't know if that made any sense, but do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how I'm going with that?
Yeah, no, and there is a lot to say about the camaraderie. When you get this group of arm wrestlers together, and even though they're opponents, and once they get on the table, their aim is to demolish the person across from them.
Right.
Just the camaraderie. It's a very fun time. I really, really enjoy it. I guess I didn't see it going this way, but we're blessed that it has gone this way. It's opened up something to us that we didn't even know was possible. And truthfully, I think it's really inspired both of us to actually love arm wrestling again.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. I mean, look how many, when you put that out there, and then, okay, here's some more subscribers now. Here's some more likes. Here's some more people now. They're like, oh, man. I always tell people when they put on a first event or something big as that, you watch the following Monday, you're going to get questions like, hey, when's the next one? And I always tell people that. And, like you guys said, the first one's like, oh, it's a one-time thing. Or you could have dubbed it one night only at the factory, and it could have been that. And it would have been, hey, I'm glad we did it, but no. And then the next one came, and that was even better. And now everybody's looking forward to December 10th. I'm thinking, okay, and we're crossing our fingers, hoping, hey, maybe, because I know at one point, I think you and Michael said, if everything goes right, then, maybe you can have one event every season or something like that. So it'll be like 4 a year or something like that.
We have been in discussions with one of our partners about 4 years.
Because I mean, the
That's
recon.
Crazy to fit that in with what is going on.
Right.
So,
it makes sense. But I like the intro with the recon, Michael coming from the helicopter. I mean, I like all that kind of stuff, because even that was new. When I watched that event, I sat there, I was like, the Monster Factory 1, thinking, what, they got animated cartoons now as an intro? So I was thinking, okay, now I see it, and that was cool. I'm thinking, okay, fine, I like this kind of stuff, And I like the fact that, unlike other events, the athletes, once they're done, hey, come to the mic. And then you guys are, in questions. Don's asking a question, or yourself or Michael, hey, you had a good match today. Tell me how you're feeling now. If even a loser, they get some shine. You bring them on. Hey, you had a tough match. Tell me what happened in match 3 or whatnot, and that kind of thing. And so I like that you'll, give every opportunity for the pullers to kind of say, hey, thanks a lot. It's just a good gratitude, so to speak. And because no one else is doing it. So you're the first, and we got to make sure just kind of keep it original. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We enjoy it. And like I said, you just couldn't ask for a better group. And so a lot of people have been at us too. Well, why don't you get some Europeans over? And that may happen eventually.
Right.
But we have got, excuse my language, a shit ton of talent here in the United States. In North America, Canada, and United States, we've got a shit ton of talent that needs to be highlighted.
Yeah.
And so I understand that people want to see Little Letton and, whoever else.
Yeah.
Here competing. But I want to see those guys that you don't know about. We do, because we met them while we were on tour, They just don't have a big social media following, and they're about to kick some ass. All they need is a spotlight for a little while.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. And of course, we will always have big names on, because those big names draw attention to the other people on the card. If they come to see John Brezink, guess who else they're going to see? Dustin Hyatt, a 22-year-old ripped up kid that should be on the cover of magazines somewhere, out there arm wrestling his heartache. They're going to see Sarah Latona, freaking awesome. I don't know what your title is at the gym, Sarah, but you're running it, whatever she does. But she's got this awesome history as well, where she was actually a song and dance person, like in productions over in Asia. That's craziness. There's a lot of talent right here in the United States that people do not know about, and that I want us to be highlighting at the Monster Factory.
So I'll go a step further and tell me if you guys agree. And even guys in the chat, tell me if you agree. Guys
Absolutely.
like Paul Lynn.
By the way, you are one of those guys. Go ahead.
Wait, one more time?
No, I was telling Justin Green. He says, I'm one of those guys. Yes, you are, Justin.
There you go. That's my man, Justin, my man. So guys like Paul Lynn, Dustin Hyatt, we know who they are. However, they can use your, like, hey, you know what? Where's Dustin going now? He's going to Arm Wars, right? Where's Paul Lynn at now? He's going to East First West. And all we need is someone to get that opportunity, right? And guess what? My opportunity came at the Monster Factory. Bam, there you go. Now you get some more shine and stuff like that. So kudos to you guys for doing that, because like you just said, Rebecca, and everybody else heard you, there's so much talent that's here, but they don't have the limelight, or maybe they don't have the social media presence or something like that, because you need that. You really do. And then if they go there and they kick butt, all it takes is that one opportunity. That's all it takes. And then boom, they skyrocketed. Well, how'd you get so good? Oh yeah, my match at the Monster Factory. Boom, your name comes up again. Here we are again. So from that standpoint, I think it's awesome also.
Here's all the matches for Monster Factory. Undercard, last match of the undercard is Rebecca and Sarah. The match before that is Brent Rakers versus Joe Fox. Before that, Justin Bear versus Micaiah Falk. Micaiah is a strong-ass dude who's down there, who's a part of the Nine-Line crew.
Right.
Freak.
You also saw him basically smash everybody at the Monster Factory in a shoulder press video.
Yeah, the log press video.
Yeah.
Bob Brown versus Kyle Howarth. He's from Australia. He's making the trip over from Australia, like number 3 guy in Australia in his weight class.
Ooh.
Dustin Hyatt versus Roman Gromov. That is going to be crazy.
Oh, talking about
step up in competition.
Oh, you mean? Are you talking about Roman from Team Relentless?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if it's Team Relentless, but it's Roman Gromov, the number 1 guy at 154 pounds in North America.
Yes, that's him. And he trains with Devin Bear. Yeah.
So Friday night, we're doing weigh-ins. And this is more of a test to make sure everything's going good with the live broadcast and everything. We're going to have Friday night preliminaries. We have 2 slots left available. They're 2 out of 3 matches. First, the one that's filled right now is Joe Cagle versus Travis Tuggle. We'll do 2 more best 2 out of 3 that night. And if we don't get anybody, that'll be it. We'll just do the weigh-ins. We'll do that match. Boom. The main card starts off with BJ Fakakis versus Chance Shaw. Going to be crazy. I like that match. BJ is ranked below Chance, but BJ is very confident coming into that match. You got Craig and Daniel for the title of the light heavyweight 200-pound division. You have Paul Lynn versus Pablo for the title of 240 pounds for the heavyweight division. And you got Cody versus Corey, left-hand super heavyweight title. And you have me versus John for the right-hand super heavyweight title.
Now, is there any kind of is there a catch weight, or they have to agree on a certain weight? How does that work out with you guys?
There are no catch weights on any matches there are no weight. There's nothing unless it's a title match for a division. Okay. If it's a title match, you have to make that weight. The weight class is 200 pounds, 240 pounds, and then super. We do not have a 170-pound title match. Probably whoever wins between Dustin and Roman, I will have them compete in an upcoming Monster Factory for the lightweight title.
So when you have the Monster Factory titles, I mean, is there like a belt, or is it just like, hey, do you have like a Monster Factory rankings? I mean, how does that work out? Because that's just kind of exciting.
I thought about doing a Monster Factory ranking right now and leave Jerry out of it completely. I thought about doing it. I don't have enough data to do a Monster Factory ranking. I mean, I could do a ranking and call it Monster Factory ranking and just rank them how I think people are ranked. But I don't know if I want to do that yet. It's too much trouble. I get back and forth on what kind of awards to give, and I haven't spoke to Rebecca about this recently. But honestly, I think at this first event, I'm giving out hammers. I like hammers, man. They haven't had no damn hammers since WAL. I think I want to give out hammers. Just have the Monster Factory laser thing logoed on one end, the weight class, everything.
We're not doing hammers.
Okay, Rebecca has no say.
We are not doing hammers.
I'm the trophy whore in this relationship. I do what I want.
We're not doing hammers.
Oh man. Okay, so Rebecca, what do you suggest then? Because I might need to, get me an airline ticket.
Okay, I picture, and I don't know how we will do it.
Okay, we may not do it.
I don't know how we will do it, but we've got to look.
Like a hammer.
It's not going to look anything like a hammer. So it has to be a monster. It has to be a monster. Because you don't know how to look for stuff, Michael Todd.
I clearly do not.
So it has to be a monster, and it needs to be fiery. That's just what I see in my head, because it's the Monster Factory, right? So it's got to be something like that. Can't be a hammer.
It can be whatever I want.
Jody, it's not going to be a hammer.
Now I am taking this, and every award for the history of history will be a hammer.
No hammers. They've been overdone. I want the connotation gone. No freaking hammers.
I'm definitely with more hammers in my life.
A lot of people are saying hammer. Some are saying a monster is way better than a hammer. I had Preacher Armor saying,
send me a monster. And the thing is, I'm not going to make a resin thing that cost me $2,000 to cast it to give out a total of maybe 16 awards in the next 4 years. That's just dumb.
Right.
So if someone could come up with a badass monster, I would love to have a monster, because I'm definitely beating John Brzezinski. That's a fact. And so that shit's going to go in my house somewhere. But I'm down for whatever. I thought about doing like where they cut the steel out into a Monster Factory logo and have a base of the piece of steel that comes up Monster Factory Arm Wrestling, have that as the award, because at least it's Monster Factory, right?
Right.
And it's different. No one else has ever done it. I don't know what to do yet. I mean, I'm not going to spend forever and ever looking, and I found hammers.
There you go. So there was a question about from Preacher Arm Wrestling. He goes, "What weight is Kegel pulling at?" By the way.
There's, like I said, unless it's a title match, there is no weight.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the weight class. If there was a weight class, it'd be 179.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but there's no Rebecca doesn't have a title match, but I think they agreed at 130.
Yeah, we agreed at 130. And Sarah, by the way, this morning I was 122.
One dose.
Well, I tell you what, I'm real excited where this is going, but I know it takes a lot of work to put on a heck of an event like this. So I applaud you guys' effort, and you're still doing other stuff on the side. So I don't know when you guys sleep, but I will say that you're very enthusiastic about what you guys do. You got everybody in the chat, myself included, saying we love what you guys do for our sport and stuff. And, we hope you guys continue that, because you bring a different flavor as opposed to the other organizations I just mentioned earlier in the show. So you want to keep it here keep it here, and just give all the people that, in the United States, in North America, give them some love, because like you said before, there's a lot of people who got talent. They're just, the spotlight's not on them for whatever reason, and you guys make sure that you do that. Like I said, whether it be you film the night before, the early weigh-ins, there's that. Then you film the event. Then you film the after pull. So all that right there, that's just a big, thing that everyone wants to chime in for. They're waiting for. So again, my hat's off to you two for doing that, and all your crew members and your team to make it all happen, and sponsors.
Really appreciate the shout out. The thing that really helps out a lot is people doing exactly what you're doing. Talk to the other people on the card, get them on your show, find out their backstory, just present them to the public. One of the things that we run into a lot, like while we were on the road doing our whole tour, people would be like, why is Michael arm wrestling those nobodies or those amateurs? And you're like, listen, bitch, they're actually world champions and national champions. They just don't have a big social media following. And so somehow you seem to think that equates to them being nobodies. I mean, get a clue, read I don't know, go on some website, read something about history in arm wrestling to know who these people are.
Right.
And even if they're not national championship, even if they're not world championship, they just may not have made it to that championship. There are so many strong people out there. There are so many great arm wrestlers out there that just deserve to be known.
Yes.
And the best way to do that, drag them into the light.
Yes.
And also, guys, by the way, if you're listening out there, you have to, if you want to grow in this sport has moved to a social media platform. You have to have a social media presence. It is wrong, and I'm sorry, but it's the way it is. If you want to garner the larger numbers, if you want to get paid more along the lines of what you think you're worth, you have to bring something to the table. And those people that are looking are going to be looking for your social media following. That's what you bring to the table. And that is what increases your worth to sponsors when they're looking at, okay, so how is me sponsoring you going to help me? Well, it's because I'm going to get you in front of these people that follow me. So you need to be working now. And I know that a lot of folks are like, I just want to stay away from social media. It's just so political. Stay away from the political crap. We don't have any of that. We don't put any of that on our stuff. Stay away from the political crap, but just let people into your life. You do something good, let people know it. You screw up, you fail, let people know it. But put it out there on social media, grow your following so that now that's something that you can take to sponsors to help you travel across seas and go compete. Or when you go to an event, like at the Monster Factory, you can say, but this is what I'm bringing. So I think I garner higher wages for this match that you're putting me against,
Oh, yeah.
All of those things. All those things help.
Trust me when I say this. Oh, I have a line getting ready, to interview everybody leading up to the Monster Factory #3. And Sarah, I know if you're still in the chat, because guess what? I'm coming at you next week, so we can get this thing rolling. Yeah, that is my goal, is to get a hold of everybody and go, hey, you're on board. Monster Factory #3. Tell me what's going on. Like when I have Paul in, we all know when he came to the Monster Factory, what happened? He got Ron Bath, and now think that he's skyrocketing. BJ Furkakis, same thing, skyrocketing. We all know about Corey West. We all know about Cody Merritt. My goal is to get all these guys and girls on the show so we can talk shop, talk about what led you up to this match, how you feeling, what you got going on, and let the pieces fall where they may.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I got some other stuff to do. I got to get ready for my primetime show. Big announcement. If you guys are not busy, feel free to check in. It'll be 8:45 p.m. your time, 6:45 out west. So, Rebecca and Michael, thank you very much for joining me on the show.
Hey,
being a food coma.
Hey, I want to tell you something really quickly. Okay, you see where your comments are coming up?
Yes.
Okay, you see where Phil Woody's comment is?
Mm-hmm.
If you touch on his comment, there should be 3 dots that come up to the right.
Okay. Oh, I see it.
Click on that, and it should show Make Moderator.
Oh, okay. I see it. Yeah, I'm still new to this, so.
There you go.
That was easy. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it now. I got it.
He is a beast.
You learn something new every day. So, again, everybody, thanks for joining the show. Rebecca, Michael, thank you very much. We will keep in touch down the road. And I'm going to let you two enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Rebecca Todd, everybody. She's back. She's coming for Sarah. But Sarah, I'm going to have you on my show next week. Feel free to set aside some time on our next Friday so you and I can talk shop. Maybe Thursday, whatnot. We'll figure things out. But again, I love what they're doing because, as Rebecca said, what they are doing, aside from the other ones across the pond, hey, home roots. We got enough talent here that you can get their name out there. And like I said before, Dustin Hyatt, Paul Lynn, they make their names at the Monster Factory. Well, guess what? Now you got one going to Arm Wars. You got the other one going to East First West. And both those guys are coming back too. So all you need, and as I said before, all you need is that one opportunity. And you make the best of it, they'll call you back, or somebody else will see your match. Somebody else will give you a call. It's a jump shot, right? So again, guys and girls, thanks for joining me on the show. I'm not done yet though. 6:45 out west, I'll be live with this big, huge announcement, right? It's going to take place next year, but it's a big one. Be sure to join me right here on my YouTube channel, 6:45, 9:45 on the East Coast. If you're still up, you should be. It's Friday night somewhere, right? Somebody's eating pizza. That's how it goes, right? So again, thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and I will see you right back here live in my studio tonight. Y'all take care. Enjoy yourself. Be nice to one another.